Music from Everclear with Magic in the Morning. And we mentioned Mike Barrett we call it Good Policies on behalf of Barrett Insurance. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
You know, I like that song from Everclear, but you know what I should have played instead?
What's that?
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Everything is wonderful now.
Everything is wonderful now.
After the weekend that we had.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, we can monitor outages here in the state of Vermont. And this will lead into our conversation today, I'm hoping. But at one time, Friday mid-morning, checking the VT outages map, there were over 90,000 customers without power. Now, that's individual addresses, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of those multifamily, okay? Yeah. A lot of those businesses. So, I mean, who knows how many people this morning? They're down to 1,982 just in Vermont.
Yeah, God bless them. They've been doing an amazing job.
So we talk about how your insurance can help you out in times of need. Mike, we have talked many times in the past about incidents like this, different time of year most often.
Yeah.
But damage can happen when the fire goes out. Your insurance can help you. In the weather event that we had this weekend.
Yes.
I'm willing to go on a limb and say that there were some folks.
Was that a pun? Limb?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't even realize that. I'm willing to guess that there's some folks out there that had some water damage due to frozen pipes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we also talk about other ways insurance can help. You take off from
Just
here.
a plethora of things that could have happened over the weekend. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about that windstorm that luckily my house, and I don't think Lindenville necessarily or St. Johnsbury took much of it, but they took enough of it to cause problems with power. But, that wind event that came through, there was a moment where I was letting my dog out where I was worried that he was going to get nailed by a falling limb. It was that intense. So what's the type of things that could occur or could have occurred through this storm that could impact you or benefit you insurance-wise? Well, one, if you had a tree fall on your house or covered property, you've got coverage for that, we're talking general terms here, but if you have a regular homeowner policy is where I'm going this morning. So most likely you're going to have coverage for that. Wind causing damage to your house, you're going to have coverage for that. Power outage. And, you and I were talking before we went on the air, there's refrigerated food coverage on homeowner policies, usually up to $500. Some go as far as $1,000. Some companies have a $0 deductible applied to that, regardless of what your policy deductible is. Some companies, I believe, have a $100 deductible, more of a nuisance deductible to prevent people just from filing those frivolously, I suppose. But this time of year, the heat was gone. So it's not like you had a hot house to deal with. So you most likely didn't lose your perishable foods in the fridge, but maybe you did. And here's how it could have happened. If you're one of those folks lucky enough to have wood heat and you were able to keep your house warm during the event, that may have had adverse effect on what was in your freezers and in your refrigerator. So you probably have refrigerated food loss. If you lost food, write a list of the items lost, the value of each, and submit a claim because, especially this time of year, you were probably pretty well stocked regardless of the holidays.
Well, you talk about the tree on the house. A very dear friend of mine had this happen recently, and I think she lives down in Alabama, but a tree limb came down on her car in the driveway.
Yeah.
So we're talking homeowners. Obviously, it was treacherous driving out there, too. I mean, all of this ties into insurance.
It really does. That's why these are the reasons why. Whoa, almost like a reverse hiccup there. These are the reasons why we have insurance. This is why it's available, is because you're thinking about these events. How often have you thought you're going to have a tremendous windstorm 2 days before Christmas that knocks out power and causes damage? I mean, these are the reasons you have it, for the what ifs that you don't think about. So don't go at it alone. If you need help, especially this time of year, check your policy, call your agent, see if there's coverage if you need it. If you don't, well, that's great. But also with the power coming back on, depending on your situation, some items may have come back on and not responded well to being re-electrified. So you might have had a power surge or something else that could have caused damage. So just be aware that you could at least seek and ask if there's coverage available to you.
Well, I've experienced with a generator, for example, to keep a place lit up, that when you turn it on and you've left everything on in the house, that generator, then it comes back up. That actually sounded like it, too.
It did, yeah. Very well done.
But for a lot of folks, they weren't at their home
Right.
when the power came back on.
Yeah. So there could be things that you're discovering still. And we are at the time of year where pipes freeze. They freeze anyway. So people could have been susceptible to that type of loss. Now, burst plumbing, you're going to find coverage on most policies with that. And why I say most policies, there are some basic form policies, unique situations that wouldn't necessarily have coverage for that, but 99.9% of them will. So, you're going to have water mitigation costs, you're going to have dry out costs, you're going to have, replacement of organic material in the parts of the house that had the water damage. So you're gonna have a claim there. So make sure you're being proactive. And a lot of people are tempted to say, "Hey, I'll just go at it alone," and then maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months into it, decide to call their insurance. Don't go that route. There's nothing wrong with filing a claim for a potential claim, even if you don't need it. It's better to put the company on notice so that they're prepared to help you out if you need them, versus kind of blindsiding them in 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Now, I'm not inside your head, but I think I know where you're going with that there. Let's say somebody does have a water pipe break, okay, and they said, we got a shop vac, we'll just clean it up.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it all.
No.
Odds are there's going to be some in the walls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mold.
Exactly. That's what you're going to find out 3 to 4 months down the road. The insurance company's going to be caught completely off guard and say, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah. And think about this, all right? The longer you let mold go undetected and unmitigated, the more expensive it's going to be. I've seen recent mold mitigation quotes for people in excess of $30,000. Do you know that most insurance companies max out their mold mitigation coverage at 10?
Holy moly.
So if you have a $30,000 mold mitigation claim, you might only get 10. So being on top of that, pretty important to do.
So if you're a new homeowner out there, I think this is a great time to say, hey, have this talk with your insurance agent. And like you say, it doesn't matter if it's with you. We'd like that, but at least talk to it. We want to educate everyone. If they want to talk to you, how?
Before I say my information, let me just say a big thank you to all the line crews, all the support staff for the power companies. They all missed Christmas. They all missed time with their friends, time with their family. There was one lineman who on a break kept the tradition alive and FaceTimed his kids and read the "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" in his utility truck. I saw that post. So a big thank you to them. I was fortunate and didn't lose power, but I did lose having my brother-in-law for Christmas because he is part of the power crew. So thank you to them.
Well, do me a favor, share that link. Now I'm crying. I actually have tears in my eyes. All I could think about, from Friday morning at 10 after 4 until just a little bit after 9 p.m. Saturday night when we were without power was what those guys and gals were living out there.
They were,
and he did that
willingly. Jumped at it.
You give me that link, and that's going on my post on Facebook. Give them your info.
Sure. Give us a call at Barrett Insurance, 748-5224. You can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agents.
You know what? That dad sounds like the only one I can think of that comes close to matching my dad.
Yeah.
Great story, Mike. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.
I knew that was coming.
Magic in the Morning with the Weekend and REI.